case you missed it, parts 1 and 2 of our Tesla road trip included our travels from Florida to Blue Ridge, Georgia, and then continued on to Cedarburg, Wisconsin. We have now crossed the halfway point of our road trip in our Tesla Model 3. We're still trying to determine if our Model 3 and the 5 of us can survive a 2,500-mile road trip. So far, the car is holding up great, though we don't recommend off-roading in it, as you saw in episode 1. Also, it is a bit of work to fit the luggage, but we truly should have packed less. But I suppose that provides a bit of comedy for all of you. On this stretch of the journey, we travel from Cedarburg, Wisconsin to Whitestown, Indiana for a rest stop, and then continue on to Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. This stop is going to include more fun activities for the kids, which will be a change after a calm few days with family. We will also show all of our supercharging stats. We will see how the Tesla does with elevation changes in the mountains, not to mention a few animal encounters to share along the way. So we just left the Woodmans in Kenosha, Wisconsin. It's our first quick charge up of the day as we head out towards Indiana again. We will be stopping at Fair Oaks next, which is a little farm that has a place for kids to play and a dog park and a little farm to see the cows and the cafe. But we just charged for 10 minutes in Kenosha and we got 74 miles back on the car just to top off, and it only cost $5.50. And we're leaving Cedarburg. That was our big family stop on this trip. And as we were leaving, we checked and we realized we've already gone 1,500 miles in our Model 3. Everybody's hanging in there really well. So we'll see you at Fair Oaks. We are pulling into the Fair Oaks supercharger. This supercharger is very cute and it's very different than a lot of the other superchargers that we have stopped at. This one had little ads on the way in to get the kids excited about it. And they also have a dog park called the Central Bark, which was really cute. It had a big and small dog park within it, which was really good for our dog. And then each of the buildings look like little barns, and they have an actual birthing barn as well as a place to have lunch. It's unfortunately closed, so we are not able to stop there today. And they also have a place called the Cafe, which has coffee and ice cream. We're really disappointed to have missed that. And straight ahead, you can see the new Marriott that they built, which is really nice. So if you stayed and did all the activities, you could charge your car overnight while you're staying here. We arrived at our hotel, Homes 2 Suites, and it has destination chargers for the Tesla, which is wonderful. There are not one, not two, but 3 cars in the EV charging spots that are not EVs. But there are so many, there's still actually 2 more spots for an actual electric vehicle to use. So this is one way to make the road trip a little easier. So we just left the Lexington, Kentucky supercharger, and I have to say that supercharger had like all kinds of food. There was an Arby's and a Wendy's, Taco Bell, pretty much almost everything. There was shopping centers, a grocery store. It's right outside of a Myers. So it was a really good spot to stop and have access to all kinds of different things. We made it there off of our charge that we had from Whitestown, Indiana. It was a destination hotel, so we were able to charge overnight, and we got 185 miles on that charge, which was free other than the hotel stay that we had to have anyways. So that's really the way to go, because you start out your day. We were all the way up to 100% when we left, and then we stopped in Lexington, and now we're on our way to Pigeon Forge. We shouldn't need another stop, although we may just to top off, but we shouldn't need any more charging stops. But when we stopped in Lexington, we fed the girls. We spent 45 minutes because we took everybody out of the car, gave the dog a break, and we added 203 miles there because, as usual, the kids tend to take a little bit longer and the dog takes a little bit longer to get settled. So we were able to charge the car up more than we probably would have otherwise. And today is probably the first day when we've had any hiccups in travel, which is pretty good to say after 2,000 miles. We just crossed 2,000 miles. For some reason, every once in a while, Zach's windshield wipers are going off, which he thinks is because of a sensor, right?
Yeah, I think maybe a bug landed right on the sensor. I gotta clean it up.
And because of that, he did complain that he had to drive like a normal person for 10 minutes, and apparently that was challenging for him. You know, he had to put his foot on the actual gas pedal. And I think everybody's just ready to have a few days in the next cabin. And that's actually our last place that we are staying before we head home.
It turns out the issue that I encountered was indeed a bug smear right in front of one of the autopilot cameras. The autopilot was actually still functioning. However, when autopilot is active, you're forced to use the automatic wiper setting, and the wipers kept trying to clear the bug smear out of the way because the camera was picking up an obstruction. That's actually the reason why I stopped using autopilot, because I didn't want to be driving down the road with the wipers going when it wasn't even raining. So a simple stop to wash the windshield, and we were good to go with no further issues.
We have arrived at our cabin, the Smoky Mountain Dream. The car is plugged in and ready to trickle charge. There was an outlet right outside the front steps, so that was very convenient. The girls are enjoying our cabin, and we are getting ready for all the fun that Pigeon Forge offers. Here are some of the fun activities, starting off with a ski lift ride up to Anakeesta. One thing we learned is that Pigeon Forge is surprisingly hot in the summer. The feels-like temperature when we went to Anakeesta was 97 degrees. We thought the elevation and the fact that it is further north and away from the ocean would mean that it at least would be less humid, and honestly felt hotter than Florida when we were there. I was so happy to have the Tesla after Anakeesta. While we were driving down the ski lift in the sweltering heat, Zach opened his phone and saw that the car's cabin temperature was 152 degrees. So he set the car to 68 degrees while we were still on the ski lift. By the time we rode down and got in the car, it had reached the desired temperature of 68 degrees. This is not something my Pathfinder can do. It would have been miserably hot in the Pathfinder. As promised, here are some of our animal encounters that we saw in Gatlinburg.
Always wanted to see it forever, and I actually really did see it.
That's so cool. Definitely glad I didn't take the dog out. It's tagged. There's a tag on its ear. Oh, it's a bear, girls. We saw a bear. There are 3. 3 bears.
Are they rocking near us? 3 bears!
Why was sniffing?